Welcome back to the Marketing Duo podcast. This is your go-to show for smart, actionable marketing strategies and mindset shifts designed to help ambitious female founders work smarter, not harder. Hello, Cynthia.
Hey,
How are
I'm
you?
good. I'm good.
What are we going to talk about today?
We're going to talk about how we've been doing this podcast for over a year, just a little bit over a year. Welcome to the Marketing Duo podcast, the podcast where marketing experts Cynthia of Digital Bloom IQ and Jen of Jen Vasquez Media come together to share their wealth of knowledge and insights on scaling your business.
Each episode, Cynthia and Jen dive into the latest marketing strategies, mindset shifts, and also growth tactics specifically designed for ambitious female founders who are tech savvy and eager to enhance their marketing game.
Whether you're looking to fine-tune your approach or discover innovative ways to accelerate your business, the Marketing Duo podcast provides actionable tips and inspiring conversations to help you reach your goals.
Tune in for a blend of practical advice and empowering discussions tailored to help you thrive in the ever-evolving digital landscape.
Let's just have a round of applause. I'm so excited. We did a whole year and we only missed 4 episodes. I feel like that because we both also have our own podcasts. So I feel like that was a real cool thing.
Yeah, and it's so cool to see how the podcast also turned into our group program, which is now launched the Quiet Growth program, which was the point. I mean, we started it because we knew we wanted to collaborate, but now it's like it's just come to fruition. Like it's just a beautiful, right?
I know. I felt like doing a podcast with you was going to be easier and more fun.
Yeah.
Because it was more conversational than like planned I mean, we do plan some content in terms of like our marketing things and whatever. But for the most part, it's, having a conversation. We love talking to each other. We get motivated by each other. And that is totally true. I will say where we, if you want to call it falling off a little bit, was more about launching a brand new program together as partners and having like all the work that you have to do when you do it as well. Like it was a full launch of something brand new. So there are things that are gonna drop when we are overwhelmed. And that was one of them.
Yeah.
So between me not feeling well or you having a client meeting or all the different things that popped up, I feel like we did a good job showing up, and I'm just looking at that as our holiday break.
Yeah.
Then we'll be going through the holidays with these episodes that we're recording.
Yeah, I feel everyone, we all have like a capacity for doing multiple things. And, obviously when you have a team, your team helps you do things and you have multiple people, but everyone has a capacity that you learn how to expand over time. And so we looked at that capacity and, that went off, but I still think we were consistent. And it is amazing that we launched a whole program from scratch, in less than 6 months, basically, and just got it up and running. Yeah.
With an amazing group. Shout out to our Quiet Growth peeps, because it's been really lovely seeing all of the light bulbs going off and the excitement again about, taking care of our SEO and Pinterest. It's been really rewarding and we're having a blast. And by the way, you guys, our next one is coming up. So we'll be putting a link in here for if you want to get on the wait list to hear more about it. But I'm excited.
So Jen, what learnings have you had from doing a podcast together? I know you just mentioned, balancing all the things, but anything else that's like come up for you?
I think what is lovely about doing a podcast with someone else is I'm not carrying all the weight of it. Like, that is a really big
Yeah.
benefit to me
Yeah.
because it's just you have somebody else that's working on it as well. The thing I and we've never had any issues except getting time on the calendar, but also it's like when you are doing your podcast, you choose the content, you figure it out, and I thought it might be a little harder with someone else
Mhm.
to be able to get in kind of what I also wanted to
Right.
do. I should not have worried at all. It's like we just have this big idea list that we keep literally keep I mean, we have like 50 things on there, I think, that we're that we're excited to talk about. But it's nice because I don't have to be the creative one
Yeah,
100%, right? I have somebody else, you, also coming up with some ideas
exactly.
and stuff
Yeah.
too.
That makes
Yeah.
it a lot
What about you?
easier. Yeah, no, it makes it a lot easier. I also feel like I guess this is like for anybody who's thinking about doing a collaboration or it doesn't even have to be a podcast. And we have another episode that talks about how to collaborate or how to have your biz bestie, how to choose anyway.
Yes, go listen to it. We'll link it in the show notes.
Uh, but I would say choose someone who complements your strengths and, weaknesses. But if you're going to have a podcast, you need to find someone who likes to talk, right? And I know I like to talk in certain situations, and you like to talk in certain situations. I feel like we
All
could
the
talk
time.
about anything. And that's why it makes podcasting so easy. Because if I was working with someone who maybe didn't have that, like, yeah, throat chakra developed, or it's not even about wanting to talk. It's also like we both bring ideas to the table. We're always looking for solutions. Like it's almost like this positive
Yes.
solving mindset. And that has been made it so easy because I've been in I mean, collaborations have their start and finish too, but I've been in some where it feels like I'm always pulling ideas or I'm always doing this other thing. And maybe
You're
that just feels
doing
heavy.
most of the work.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I think we've both
I
been good at
yeah.
that.
I think the other thing that was helpful for us as well, and it's something that every business owner should think about before joining up with someone to do any project, not just a
Yeah.
podcast, is that you have a similar audience.
Yes.
So
My
it
God.
doesn't
Yeah.
have to be exact, but like primarily female service providers are like are people. Like wedding pros and makeup artists and things like that, and
Yeah.
photographers are kind of on mine. And then you've done the like therapists and doctors and things like that, among other
Yeah.
things. But our ideal audience is still at the end of the day female, and you work with men and I will work with
Mhm.
men, but it's really female service providers. And that that lends it to me wanting to make
Yeah.
time, right? Because it's gonna also benefit my business if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
When you're taking on a project with a partner of any kind doing anything, you need you need to also have the desire to do
Yeah.
it, and you also need to have the ability to know that it's gonna help your business and it's not taking away time from your business.
Totally.
I think that would be an important point too.
Yeah, like it's strategic, it's profitable. Like we both went in knowing we wanted to collaborate because it was fun, but we also do business, we have profitable
We're
businesses
very smart.
and we have limited time, right? So we were like, okay, how can we make this a way to gain more clients, to gain more visibility? I also personally, again, like I've found the podcast very energizing because yes,
Motivating even,
and that's
yeah.
always a good sign, right? Because again, I've been in some partnerships that start to feel heavy or, whatever, and it's like, okay, that time I'm investing with this other person, it needs to feel good. Like there's hard moments and there's moments like how we launched, we worked so hard on the launch and just building the
Oh,
program was so hard and we had to support each other because there were moments where we both struggled with different things and we were there for each other. And yeah, there are moments where we both were
mhm.
like in a negative, maybe weird place, negative weird place.
I
And that's
mean, yeah,
okay.
and I don't wanna say yeah, I don't wanna say negative, but you get to the point where you're already inundated with
Yeah.
work as it is, and then you have this commitment because we
Yeah.
that's another thing. You have to have the other person look at it as a commitment
Yes.
like you
Yep.
do. I think that's really important, or you end up doing all the work, and that has never been the case with
Yeah.
us, thank
Yeah.
goodness. In fact, I feel like I fill in some of the areas that
Yeah.
you're less comfortable with, I don't even know if that's the right
Yeah.
word, and vice versa. You know what I mean? Like that part is really
Yeah.
helpful. And having an SEO partner is not hard either because she knows the SEO and that's half the battle in
Yeah.
marketing. So that was helpful.
Yeah. So I think again, we are human. We had our like faults. We're not like perfect in the partnership. We still, maybe moments where we're both positive, we're both negative, whatever. But I also feel like there's like a good complement to what we're doing, and we both trust each other, and we're open to communicating, when things are hard and when things are good too. And
Yeah.
that's just partnership. The last thing also I feel like we did a good job at the beginning is we sat down and we talked about what we would individually be responsible for the
Yes.
podcast, and then
And what we would
what would
outsource.
be
Yeah.
outsourced, and that's changed, right? But, and then
Yep.
also anything that we would purchase, like any tools or anything, and that
Yep.
again, that's fluctuated, but I feel like overall it's felt like an even
Absolutely.
split, right? Because there's
Yes.
some
I
back end work that needs to happen when you have a podcast.
Yeah, and I feel like too, we've known each other long
Yeah.
enough that I know I feel comfortable if I was feeling a little
Yeah.
off, like something doesn't feel quite right. I would feel super comfortable going to you and saying, I'm kind of feeling like
Yeah.
this and have a conversation. If you are unable to do
Yeah.
that with somebody, that is a big sign not to partner.
Yeah.
I need to be on it because otherwise you're feeling these feelings that you don't feel comfortable expressing and you're going to end up burnout or wanting to quit.
Yeah, and I mean, we talked about that on the other episode, but that takes time to develop, like that trust, that comfort, whatever you want to call it. Like any relationship, it's not built overnight. Because I don't know if I would have been able to launch a program with you maybe 2 years ago, right? It took
No,
it took a
no.
while for us to get there, and now it's like because it could be really stressful too, right? So it's like we feel that yeah, that mutual feeling, and we're both, again, doesn't mean it's perfect, but we can talk to each other, and then you get to that point where we're going to launch more and more things, we're going to trust ourselves more and more. It's just yay.
I know. I will also point out too that we didn't just jump
Yes.
into a partnership also after knowing each other
Yeah.
this long. We started by you being in front of my audience and me being an affiliate on the things that
Yes,
you're
exactly.
selling on the back end, like doing some free classes with the
Yeah.
intent of, talking about one of your services to my audience, which was a perfect
Yeah.
fit because my audience loved
Yeah.
it and needed it. So I would take baby steps before you launch into a big
Yeah.
project. I think
I
that would
think,
be
yeah, I was
something.
doing those webinars maybe almost 2 years before we went.
Yeah, it was a year and a half every
Yeah.
month. It was a commitment.
Right.
It was a commitment.
Right.
And she would present the information for this free masterclass, and then I would be an affiliate for anyone that purchased, and because I've worked with Cynthia before, I fully endorse everything she does, and I verbally do that as well. So it really was sort of
It was
symbiotic.
very gradual, very, yeah, it felt
Yeah.
easy, it felt natural, and that's like, yeah, that's another tip is go slow, unless, you're feeling really inspired, I guess, but you can go
Sure.
slow, and yeah, it doesn't have to be it should feel good, I guess, like, it sounds
If
obvious,
it
but
doesn't feel good at the very beginning, that might be a sign to
yeah,
not continue.
yeah,
And also too, we tried scheduling a longer meeting once a month, found that that kind of didn't work as well, so then we did an hour each week, sort of a standing
yeah,
appointment, and then we move it up or back depending on client calls or not feeling well or
yeah,
whatever, and it's always been I have always felt like it was a good relationship. If you had to move something or if I had to move something, we were super
yeah,
flexible with each other and still maintained the schedule that we needed
yeah,
to maintain. So that's also important. It's not just what you're going to partner on, but it's not just like what you said, who's going to do what. So that's sort of a fair equity share
yeah,
situation, but also planning for being busy.
Totally.
Getting something on the calendar ahead of time seems to really help us to stay on target. And again, we can move it if we need to up or down in the day or to another day, but that really I think helped create a habit of doing these episodes as well.
Yeah, we scheduled like a weekly time slot, and then we actually made it a little bit longer, but what ended up happening is some weeks we could do the 2 hours, and then some weeks we can only do an hour,
Yes.
but it still ended up balancing each other. Yeah, it's
Yeah, and it blocks our
yeah,
calendar, but, like, if I have a discovery call and that's, like, some one of that times is kind of when that person wants, and of course, I wanna do discovery
yeah,
calls, then we'll cut it to an hour
yeah,
on that week, and we have an hour this time, and this is our 2nd episode that we're recording at a time, so we try to
yeah,
record multiple
yeah,
episodes
batch.
each time we meet
Yeah,
too. I think that
yeah, we
helps.
tried to
If we
batch.
just did 1 episode a week, that would feel like a lot.
Yeah, I think initially we were trying to do, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think at the beginning we tried to do like a whole afternoon of recording.
Yeah, I think we did 4 or 5 hours once a month, and that was only for, like, a
That
month or
didn't,
2. I
yeah,
think
that
we
was too
quickly
much
found that was
because 'cause
not
we're both
helpful.
so busy,
Mhm.
we've got our businesses, we have just multiple and so it was like, "Okay, let's go back to weekly," and we just found it easier because we could just touch base, and then when we started doing the program, we would use that same time to also map out the
Yes.
program, and that worked well because it's like you get in the
Yeah,
habit. I think a lot of people have the excuse of, like, time, right? And we all get it, right? But
yeah.
I remind myself, everyone has 24 hours in a day, like, everyone, the president, like, my cleaning lady, everyone, right? So it's like, "Okay,
Everyone does,
how can
yes.
I use those 24 hours the smartest way where I wanna be, in my goals?" And so
Yeah,
this was important to us, and we've talked about in the future we're going to delegate a lot of this, and so the time management of it will
yeah,
go down, and we'll just show up for maybe the
yes,
recording or some aspects of it. So it is an investment up front because you're getting the wheel rolling on something
mhm,
completely new.
yeah,
Um and and but it gets I guess because we're both marketing experts too, it's just like fun to create something else.
probably, yeah,
'Cause remember, Jen, at
yeah.
the beginning, we were like, "We're not gonna do Instagram, we're not gonna do YouTube." Of course, we ended up doing an Instagram account, of course,
Of
the
of
YouTube,
course.
and it hasn't been a significant more amount of work, right? We
No,
just batch, we're smart,
no,
maybe it could be a little better, but we've,
correct.
like, made it pretty good, the fact we're running, other businesses at the same time.
And I think too, it was important for us what we did was we did it
Yeah,
ourselves to see what the process was, what we were
yeah,
doing, and then we outsourced it, and then we paused it because we were doing this program launch. So, I think it's important even if you have a team, I think it's important to do things the first time at least
yeah,
yourself because if you know how to do it, then you can help your team to figure out what to do. And then, then they can be creative and find other ways to do it if they want to. But at least we have the core of what we want on
yeah,
there. Right. And we also agreed that it wasn't going to be perfect. We agreed up front that we're going to do what we can. Like we were not going to put I tend to put pressure on myself, but we were really clear that we wanted it to be easy in the form of talking to each other, which we enjoy, but and then maintaining a schedule, but also not maintaining a schedule if we couldn't, which is what the last, the 4 times that we missed an episode was because of this launch, and we knew it, and we understood it, and it was what it was.
yeah, it's like that balance of
Grace, giving us
giving us
grace.
grace, exactly, that's what I was gonna say, and also having the commitment, and that's hard to strike because there could be I don't know, everyone, again, has different ways of doing things and launching things. I feel like, Jen, working with you, I feel like, maybe you'll push me or inspire me, but it doesn't feel like negative pressure, it feels
Right,
like positive pressure.
correct.
So, if someone was, yeah, maybe being hard on themselves, I think we were good at balancing that out and being like, "You know what? You're
True.
sick, you're in bed or whatever, like, life happens."
Yeah, I don't want you doing a podcast if your voice
Yeah.
sounds crappy. Take care of yourself. Or I know there was a time when I was like really not feeling
Yeah,
good and I wanted to do it. And then you were on Voxer going, Jen, just
yeah,
rest. Like that part was really nice. That is the glory of working with someone
yeah.
on things because I'm not good at giving myself grace. And you have really helped me to do that. I will still I'm like, we got one episode left. We need to get on that. You know what I mean? And then you're like, it's not happening. So we need to like make peace with that. Because my intention when we were doing episodes during that launch, we didn't. It is what it is. But guess what? It was a beautiful launch and we have an amazing group of folks. So that it's brilliant. We definitely want you guys in it next year, by
Yeah.
the way. So
Yeah,
check
again, I
out that
think
one.
when you find someone, it feels like a marriage. It's kinda like when you just find someone where it works, and they're like it's just that balance of, like, just enough pressure, but not too much, and it's enjoyable. Even when you're both sick and, like, things are just really hard, it still feels comfortable. That's, like, the perfect fit, and it doesn't happen overnight, right? So it does take work and it like we just said, all those
No.
things, but it's so worth it, and I do like, again, it's created an additional just to, like, highlight the pros because 'cause we've been talking, but, like, it's created an additional income stream for both of us that we never had before.
Yeah.
It's created additional
Yes.
client opportunities because 'cause we've also kind of started
Yes.
collaborating on potentially done for you clients, and it's just
Yes.
stimulated things. Like, I remember when you were like, "Cynthia, you need to talk about AI and SEO," and at that time, this was probably, like, 6 months ago, I was kinda like,
I think I pushed really hard at the time. Forgive
"No, it's
me,
great."
but I was like, you know your
Yeah.
shit. We have
Yeah,
to.
I wouldn't have done that, and I maybe wouldn't have done that for my own podcast, and now it's like, yeah, 6 months later.
Now you have
Yeah,
like services around it,
exactly.
which is
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah, so there's so
Yeah.
many benefits for it because it can get really lonely in business, and so it's important to build in collaboration and partnerships, whether it doesn't have to be a podcast, it could be a much smaller, collaboration.
Yeah. So celebrate. Woo! It's been a year. We're so excited. If you have not subscribed and you just stumbled upon this, make sure that you subscribe as well.
All right, so that's a wrap for this episode of the Marketing Duo podcast. If you found this conversation helpful, share it with a fellow founder who could use some inspiration today. And don't forget to subscribe so you'll be the first to know when new episodes drop. And we'll see you back here soon. Keep building your business with ease and impact.
Bye.